again and welcome to Occupational Safety and Health Education Scholarship Scheme training session for slot 4. Today is the second day training. So before we go into what we have today, can we just refresh our minds on what we learned yesterday? Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what was done yesterday. Which course was done yesterday? Let's start from there. Let's do a quick recap of what we did yesterday before we go on for what we have today. So let me call on Timothy Dokita. Timothy Dokita, can we hear from you?
Okay, my name is Timothy Dokita from Ghana, Whole Technical University, a third year student in electrical and electronic engineering. And yesterday the slides was 101 and we talk of the topic was foundation in occupational safety and health. And then the lecturer talk about they say what is a safety, health, and then environment. And we talk about and how to be safe in our working environment, not even only our working environment, but in our various homes as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Timothy. That shows that the attention in yesterday's class. Okay, you can go on, Mr. Ibrahim Ayomide.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Welcome,
My name is
Ibrahim.
Ibrahim from Nigeria. I attend Ibadan University, 300 level, Senate of Chemical Engineering. Okay, so yesterday our lecturer spoke about health, safety, and accidents was part of what he spoke about. So when he spoke about health, he said health is the state of being physiologically and psychologically well. And when it came to safety, he said that safety is every action or every step or every arrangement our health is in the right condition. So he also he emphasized that we attain safety by using our common sense in doing whatever we're doing. Okay, and he spoke about accidents and hazards. Said that hazards are not completely, hazards cannot be completely eliminated, but then can be controlled. And he spoke about a lot of methods in which hazards can be controlled.
All right, thank you. I would have loved to throw one or two questions from that, but let me hear from the second person too. Don't go Cedric Abifo. Can we hear from you? Raising your hand.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, welcome. Introduce yourself.
Please, I'm called Adongo Shadrach from Ghana, University of Energy and Natural Resources, level 400.
Welcome.
All right, we also talk about the ways in which accident can occur in our various workplace, which the lecturer indicated that accident happens due to unsafe act and then unsafe conditions and a combination of unsafe act and unsafe conditions. These are some of the things that we normally don't look at or take proper care, which at the end trigger us to end up by having problem with ourselves. And then he also talk about MEES, the MEES which stand for materials, equipment, environment, and that of the systems. So we have to always assess the materials that we are using during the work, and we also have to assess the equipment, whether they are functional, do they have fault, do we have to do something about them before we commence with the work. And he also talked about the environment. How safe are we to work? Do they have something that will affect us if we go into? And then after that, he also talked about the system that we also have to run in case of accident, what we could do to evacuate ourselves from being harmed. So this is what I also learned about what he taught us yesterday. Thank you, sir.
All right, that was so wonderful of you. That shows that you are attentive throughout this class. We may not attend to a lot of people raising their hands because of our time, but let me also give you my questions. And once again, please, if you join the class, mute yourself. Secondly, edit your name. I can still see somebody using a dotted line. Please, it's not acceptable here. I don't want to say that again to avoid removing you. Okay, so Sabra, you can put down your hand while I also call on Herbert.
Okay, sir.
Hubert Prosper.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm Hubert Prosper from Cameroon, and I'm a NAPU student. Yesterday, the teacher made mention of the fact that hazards in the workplace can never be eliminated. Like, there are always hazards, and everything around us is a hazard. He made the mention of a kitchen. That the fire in the kitchen is not, it's always there. That's a hazard, but it does not mean that because it's hazardous, that means it's not a useful something. It's something that we need in the kitchen, and it can still cause an accident, or it's a hazardous something. But now, how do we manage those hazards? And he pointed out that, and also making mention of PPEs on the work site. He said PPEs as personal protective. That's just one of the things that helps to mitigate hazards on site, and that PPEs does not really. If you wearing a PPE, does not necessarily mean you are free from hazardous or hazards. So that's what I was able to pick out, and including what my friends have said also.
All right, thank you, Mr. Prosper, for that. And to enlighten or to progress the point, PP does not eliminate hazard. It only reduces the impact of the hazard to the worker. Mm-hmm. The hazard must have been there before you used PPE. So you did thank you for that. Thank you for that, especially that you are in the class yesterday. So let me also hear from the last, please. From Abdulaziz Adeleke. Raising your hand, can we hear from you? Okay, I know you or most of you were attending in the class yesterday, and you picked up one thing and the other, which is so wonderful of you. And even I hope some of you also read your materials even before joining the class, which is what they expected from you. So that is nice. We may not give room for everyone to speak because of our time sake. That you can also make it as alone. So all things being equal, we'll go further in our class today. And on that note, I will also introducing our Minister of Safety, who will be taking us on today's class. He knows what he's doing. He's the capacity. He's the commander in safety. So I will introduce the engineer Dr. Emmanuel Uwalaka to now take up the class for today. Please, you can drop a clapping emoji for him while I welcome him to take the class for today. Engineer Dr. Emmanuel Uwalaka.
Yeah, thank you so much, Promise, for that wonderful anchoring. Actually, as I said earlier, today I was not actually too sure if I'm going to be here, but looking at a lot of agitations and also requests for me to wrap up, because we noticed some of other international teams are engaged in one other engagement or the other. But as the case may be, I'm here. I'm here. So if you're happy I'm here, can you smile? Can you smile? Can you smile? Can I see your smile, please?
Yeah, smiling now.
Okay. I see. Thank you so much. And in the same vein, we are also appreciating Engineer Promise for that wonderful anchoring so far for this short moment, because I was also engaged in another meeting, and I said I would definitely go to get back, Okay, fantastic. Yesterday, I was not actually very clear with the revisions, but I know we have done that and everything is okay. But going forward, today's topic, which is course 109, workplace health and safety. we have actually laid a very solid foundation, a very raw one, without any unnecessary mixture on it. It's just like where you see a builder putting in raw cement and water. So it becomes very difficult to break anyhow, because this is raw cement and water, no sand in it. You understand? So, and that is how I love it going, because you can't pass through a system of this nature and still remain a chicken. Because I trust our institution. We are actually doing a whole lot to lead the way and to lead humanity to a safer life and to a long time longevity, as the case may be, as humans who need to really be safe, live longer and things like that. Okay, fine. Looking at today's lecture before I gamble into it, yesterday was very fantastic and you receive a 5-star 20. Okay. Workplace health and safety is not going to be far from what we discussed yesterday. It's not going to be far from what we discussed yesterday. Because health and safety, as we have said earlier, is life. Safety is life. Workplace health and safety is something that everyone needs to understand, that is very critical, very important, to make sure that we build ourselves, we build our system, we build our system as the case may be. So what I'm trying to say, safety is life, right? Safety is life. Safety is not made for engineers. Either is it made for adults, or made for learned, or made for unlearned, as the case may be. Safety is made for all living things, even goats and dogs. Check very well. When you see goats and dogs moving along the road, once they hear vehicle, they will run away. So, what you should think, why are they running away? Where are they running to? Do you understand? That means they don't want to die. They knew that if this vehicle hit them, they will die. So safety is nature. Can you put on the chat box, safety is nature? Then I will not tell you what happens after that understanding. Safety is nature. Then you need to now know again that there is a slogan that says, safety is also common sense. Then, looking at animals running away from vehicles, not hitting them, gives you that understanding that safety is common sense. Get that very clearly. I want you to get that very clearly. That gives you understanding that safety is common sense. Because even the birds, yes, I'm just beginning to remember now that even birds, once you see birds and you try to bend down, you have not picked the stone, especially some of them are very intelligent. You have not picked the stone, just bending down alone. So whether you want to pick the stone or whether you claim you want to tie your shoe, the bird will just run away. Yeah, the bird will just, maybe you don't want to even pick the stone, you just want to tie your shoe. But once the bird sees any bend, is to fly. Why? He doesn't want to die. Why? He's already thinking that hazard is coming. Danger is on the way. So once he senses that danger on the way, the next thing is to run for safety. He doesn't say to experience what happens or how it's going to happen. Do you understand? Or whether you're going to negotiate, you're going to hit or not. No. Once there is any sense of, so I want you to learn from this story. Once there is any sense of indication that this is likely to happen, what happens? The bird flies. You may be passing your way, but that is your business. But his own is that he's always alert. Always what? Alert. So when you see some safety professionals, from my investigation, the high rating, especially in Africa, you see people, safety managers, supervisors, so many titles, beautiful titles as the case may be, but those titles doesn't portray intelligence. It doesn't portray at all, because you see so many of these leaders as safety leaders, supervisor, managers, they will still be at the side accidents keep happening. Why? They are not sensitive enough. Their intelligence is not high, because there are volumes of intelligence. You must understand that. You must understand that. Intelligence have volume. There are volumes of intelligence. So once these candidates as safety personnel sense any kind of injury that is likely to happen, their role is to stop it. Their role is to trip it off. It's just like many of you that are in electrical engineering, there is what we call circuit breaker. I'm not an electrical engineer, but I have that knowledge. Do you understand? I'm a civil engineer. I have no business with that, but I know about it. So once I have any sensitive equipment in the house, I have to install these gadgets. What is their role? Once they sense any unnecessary trigger of current, they just trip off. Why? They need to save the equipment from damage. They need to save the house from burning. That is their role. So the safety officers in every organizations, in every workplace, is seen or is portrayed or is presented as a circuit breaker. I don't know if you got that. You are the safety and the lifesaver of all the workforce. Yeah, that is your role. Nobody should have headache. Nobody should have any kind of injury. Do you understand? Nobody. Everyone should be healthy. Everyone should be sound. That is your job. Making sure that things go right. Right? People get the information, not just only the information. Making sure that people are well guided, because people need to be guided. If you don't guide them, they will guide themselves into an incident, an accident. Then the consequences will land on your head. I don't know if I've said it in this class. In the Western world, in Canada, in UK, in America, especially in the UK, they don't joke with life. UK is rated as one of the safest cities in the world. Why? Because they value life than anything. America, anybody can even do. You see people carrying gun and shooting and all that. Where do you see gun in UK? You hardly see gun. Maybe in 10 years, you see gun 2 or 3 times. You don't see. Where are you going to see? Police have no gun. So, safety. They try to build a city to be safe as possible. So, safety is something that you need to understand, that you need to drive. You are working as an engineer, then you need to make sure that you need to do your job safely. You are working as a safety officer, then you have bigger job to do. Why? Because you are going to save others. That's why your job is more serious. You are going to save others. You are going to save others. And in the process of doing that, you need to now learn more, grow more. Do you understand? So we are looking at so many topics in this course 109. We are looking at the law and that takes us to understanding the safety law. We have Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, so many of countries here, Gambia, as the case may be. All these countries have their own laws to save lives. So how they manage the laws is not the business of the authorities. How the law is being managed determines how the compliance is being accepted. In the UK, as I gave an example yesterday, what happens in Dubai sometime, that is the way it is different in other developed countries. Why in some other developed countries, anybody can do what he or she wants and nothing happens? Even when they kill somebody, nothing happens. So you begin to think, what is the difference between the laws? So the laws, remember the source of this problem, why the laws are not working. You already know, because the system is also part of the hazard. I don't know if you remember. There was a name I mentioned yesterday, and I say it's the hierarchy of hazard across different organizations, different whatsoever. And you remember that system is there, right? If you remember that word again, can you put on the chat box, please? If you remember that word. Now, you see, the government acts like the system. They are the one that control the system. So, if they first to do the right thing, first to guide people, first to implement, the judiciaries first to do their own job, first to send people to jail, and first to sanction people, then people will believe that nothing happens. You can just set up a company and kill 10 people, and at the end of the day, you use money and bail yourself out. You understand? So the law likely to have issues if the system is weak. And some of these countries I have mentioned before, the system is weak. There is no grammar to that. The system is weak. So what I teach people, or when I come to organizations in those countries for trainings or for audit, I only have to tell them, please, the system is weak, but save your life, but help your life, but plan your own laws to save yourself. Because you have a system that is very toxic and hazardous. Do you understand? Do you understand? Because, for example, like some of these systems, we are talking about security now, apart from safety. Somebody leaving his or her house in the night in the city of Abuja or in the city of Accra in the midnight, and you feel that because you have some money, you are just strolling. You say you just want to stroll, and it's around midnight. Do you understand? Then you find out that you'll be kidnapped into the bush, where you have to bring out your money. And not just bringing out the money, that is if you even come back alive. Do you get? In the UK, 24 hours, you can decide where to go, how to go, and how you want to go. Nothing care. You don't need prayer. You don't need prayer. You don't need to pray. I pray for some journey. Every journey is already saved in advance. Every journey is saved in advance. You are sure back home, whether it's midnight, you don't care the hour. People close work 2 a.m., 3 a.m. The road, you are the only one running even 10 miles away. You are the only one on that road. It doesn't matter whether it's bush or whether it's normal. It doesn't. But the good thing is that everywhere, both the bush, everywhere is tight. Some of them no street light. For you to think maybe because you hear UK that everywhere is street light, everywhere is a lie. Some of the roads there is no street light in the night. No street light. But the point is that the roads are tight, your car is in good condition, and you will get home safely. It's as simple as that. Why? The laws are working. The system is working. There are self-driving procedures. There are cameras, people are watching 24/7. Even in that road, only you is there, you violate the law, 2 days later, you get a letter and you pay your fine. Why? You overspeed by 2 a.m. midnight on so date and so date. And camera will show you this is your car and this is the plate number, this is everything. This is when you were driving, this is when the camera captured you. So you have already seen yourself that you are already judged. So there's no argument to it. You have seen the picture there, so no argument. So possibly you didn't even know when you overspeed, but the point is that camera have captured you, your speedometer, everything is showed, statistics is there. Do you get? So you can't just do what you want to do because nobody is watching you in midnight. You just drive as you want. Your name is sorry because you will pay big time. Why in some countries, even in the daytime, people are moving up and down, they speed and kill people and nothing happens? The law. So in every workplace, as safety active scholars develop a self-working procedure. There is no format for that. Just your common sense. Just your what? Common sense. But that common sense cannot come if you are not informed. That is what, now that you have been informed, your common sense, I'm very sure that is now activated. Yeah, I'm very sure it's now activated. So your common senses are working now. For many of you that are in this class, and many have passed through the steam, their common sense are working. You can make them your friends and know that this one is a safety conscious worker. This is a safety conscious colleague. Anything outside that are hazardous human beings following you. You get? So that is the way it works. And the next is facilities for the welfare. Facilities for workers, facilities that are required in every workplace. For example, the lunchroom, informations are part of it. First aid equipment, toilets, drinking water. When I was in Nigeria, in fact, our office in the Federal Secretariat in the government building, maybe if we check outside the minister's office, we may be the only one that you can drink free water inside the office. I remember those days, somebody came in and he said, here it's just like as if you are in the UK. I say, of course. I told him that once you come into this big building and enter this office, you are inside the UK. I remember that statement. Why? Because I have been informed and I have seen over the years when I do visit that this is how life is. Life is simple. Provide water, provide tea and coffee, provide cups and things like that, snacks, so that you will be able to deliver. You didn't go to kill yourself. It's work you went for. So you should be happy doing the work. Do you get? You should be happy doing the work. That is why in the developed countries, when you are a citizen, you decide if you want to work or not. I met a friend sometime. He said, in fact, Emmanuel, I'm going to stop work. I said, what? He said, yeah, I'm going to stop work. So what happens? He said, you just need 2 months rest. I said, so how do you get money? He said, that's no issue. So benefits, you have to rely on benefits. My brain now wake up that we are not the same. Somebody is laughing, right? Yeah. My brain just wake up that we are not the same. Go and stop work. Then you will hear. This man can stop work. Reason because he feel he doesn't have the strength, because he feel he doesn't want to work. That is the way it works. Facilities need to be provided to make sure that the workplace and the workers in the workplace enjoy themselves while doing their job. The Unit 2 talks about hygiene and health. You already understood the genesis, the implications, and the foundation of health. Do you understand? You already understood that now. And you also understood what hygiene is all about. I talked about that yesterday. Hygiene, even down to personal hygiene, public hygiene, kitchens, toilets, office space, control of your waste. So you need to try to manage your body, manage your alcohol intake, manage so many things. Do your exercise as the case may be. Worry less where necessary, because they are all part of it. Stress management is part of health issues. Do you understand? Now, we have so many acute and chronic diseases and illnesses that can emanate from wrong system of work and also from germs and bacteria within our environment, within the bathroom, the toilet, or kitchen, or the case may be. Coming to the next unit, which is very key, which is recognizing the safety hazard. This is not too far from the myths that you already know. If you check it, you'll find out that this is not too far from that. It says hazards are any urgent situation. Can you see that hazards, situations are also part of hazard? Can you also see that behavior is also part of hazard? Because many of you think that hazard is when that equipment is there. No. That is why your friend or your human beings you see around you are part of the hazard. Because they are the one that manifest this behavior and also manifest some decisions that affect situations. They are the ones. It's not spirit that manifests all this. It's human beings. It's human beings. And they are the one that has the potential to cause injury, cause illness, damage to properties, or to the environment. How? How will that happen? How are they going to do it? Through the sources of the hazard. You already know the sources. I've treated that category of sources. And it's not far from what you are seeing on the screen also. Machinery, you remember equipment, you remember raw materials, you remember workplace, you remember other people, other workers. That is the people there in that mix. The job for housekeeping. You get the point, right? So these are the system by which hazards have been introduced in various workplaces, in various lives, and all that. Even spiritually, there are hazards. Yes. Why are people praying? Praying in the mosque, praying in the church. You think it's easy to pray? Yes. Do you think it's easy to pray? If I ask now how many prayed today, you find out that out of almost 100 of you here, it's only 5 people that prayed. Yes. Or 10% that prayed. Because many feel there is no need for the prayer. They don't have any need. They don't have any trouble. So they are okay. They don't need a prayer. Why some have the problems? And some of the problems are the problems they have introduced or they have caused to themselves So the problems can be resolved by knowledge, not by prayer. Do you understand? So that's why I do tell people sometimes, you just wake devil from sleep based on your characters or behaviors. So everything is not a prayer. The prayer is the safety, right? And the devil or the Satan is a hazard, right? Exactly. So for you to be free from the hazards, you have to now pray. That is the whole part of it. Conducting a hazard assessment is one critical factor any living human being must do. If not, your name is sorry. Big time sorry. Any living human being. Why? Human beings are the hazards. Materials you're using is hazards. Equipment you're using to operate is hazard. The system or the procedure by which they have told you to carry out the job, if you don't check it very well, you follow what they say, then you have also entered trouble. You know, safety have taught me so many things, and I have really gained a whole lot beyond financial. Even when you are moving on the road, I don't know if you have been moving on the road sometime, you ask somebody, please, I'm looking for number 6 Louis Street. But the man will say, let me see. Okay, number 6 Louis, is this way? Okay, sir. You will not ask, are you sure? You will not ask, how do you connect? Do you have the map to, what shows you that he's telling you the truth? Okay, in most cases, you now have to move like 1,500 kilometers. You now find out that, you now met somebody who said, oh, no, this is the biggest mistake you have made. It's not this route that you should have followed the other, just a slight angle from where you started that journey. I don't know if you have experienced that kind of scenario before. Why? Somebody can mislead you. The instructions or decisions you take can land you in serious jeopardy. So you need to identify and evaluate. You need to do what? For me now, long ago, even when I was in Nigeria, so if I'm driving or maybe getting to a point, I will ask this man, please, do you know number 6 or St. Louis Street? He said, is this way? I said, are you sure? Have you been there before? The next thing, automatically, I don't think it. I will say, have you been there before? Because if you tell me you have been there before, that means you are sure. So when I ask, have you been there before? Have you followed that route before, sir? He said, I'm not too sure, but it's like, I say, you're not sure, don't worry. I'll have to move another 2 meters. I'll ask another person. So when I will ask 2, 3, 4 people, and they are just telling me the same point, my mind will say, I'm in the right track. I will keep going. But many of us, we only ask one person. And when we now get to the end of the road, that's after you have walked like 1 hour. Your brain will now wake up and say, this kind of, I'm not sure. This is what you should have asked from the beginning, not now that you are here in the middle of the sea. It's a risk. It's a big risk. So you need to evaluate the risk of the exposure of whatsoever. Apply what? Control. What is the control? I will ask again. I will ask another person. I will ask 2, 3, 4 people there. If it's a junction, I will ask this bike here in left. Once I move, once he tells me, I say, thank you, sir. No issue. There is no fight in thank you. So, thank you. I will move a little bit. I'll ask her, please, is that the way to St. Louis? He said, yeah, that's the way. Okay, thank you. God bless you. I'll move a little bit by the left. Please, madam, is this St. Louis? He said, yes. And then I'm good to go. But once any of these 3, 4 have some break, I have to do what? Apply control. Because if you don't do all this it doesn't cost you anything. It only costs you intelligence to do that. It doesn't cost you anything. It only costs you what? Can you put on the chat box intelligence, please? put on the chat box intelligence, because these are where the real key problems lies, even in the safety industry. Even in the safety industry. I'm telling you, not just I want to talk, I'm telling you what I know. So the fourth one is monitor the effectiveness of the control. And that is what I normally do. Even when somebody said, this is the way, who told you is the way? Monitor. How do you evaluate it? Have you evaluated it? Have you, done some check? How many people, even when you want to buy, I was teaching somebody some days back. I said, look, don't just go enter market. They will tell you this is $5. You say, okay, thank you. Pack it, please. Is it the only one in the market? You need to meet through 4, 5 people in the market and evaluate and monitor and be sure that, yes, this is the value and this is the correct one for you. So safety, that's why we say safety is life. When you hear somebody, safety is meant for engineers, safety is meant for this. I just pity their life, because go and watch their life full of mistakes, full of errors, full of assumptions, full of so many kind of stuff that are, even in all ratification, go and check. Go and check. Even in career, so many errors everywhere. Because they lack the skills, they lack the intelligence to evaluate, carry out appropriate measures to be sure, not assumption. Remember we said it yesterday, safety is not an assumption. Safety is what? Assurance. Safety is what? Assurance, not an assumption. I think I thought, I was believing, I pray. You have to work with what is on the table. You have to work with what on. That is the safety. That is your savior. That is your what? Savior. Anything outside that, you're on your own. You are on your own. Do you get? So the next here is the manual handling. And if you listen to the introductory video earlier, was teaching about manual handling. And this is very key. I remember in one of the classes, I was narrating this because, as a civil engineer, I practiced in Nigeria for some time. And those days, when you see we are doing concrete or slab casting, we have so many artisans and so many laborers and those who are looking for money. Everybody will come. Trailer will bring like 200 bags of cement by the street. So many trays of sands, chippings, and so many stuff, And we now have to start evaluating. Before my thorough knowledge in safety, I do that mistake also. I will just put everybody, go and be bringing bag of cement. The man you ask to go and be bringing bag of cement, go and weigh the man or weigh that gentleman is weighing 35. Go and weigh him. He's weighing what? 35, 40. The cement is how many kg? 50 kg. Cement is 50 kg. The man is weighing 35, weighing 45. So the man and the cement, who carry each other? These are simple common sense, but because of ignorance, and sometimes I say foolishness, but this is also the root. The root of it is lack of the knowledge. That is the root of it. So you will see them, they will just be struggling with the cement. I will say, I will be laughing. I say, you, no strength, you want to come and walk? My brain is not going that this is lack of what? Safety. This is a safety issue. I don't have that knowledge. But when I begin to get knowledge in safety and build some authority in the field, I can't ask you to do anything without proper assurance. It's not possible. I don't even need to ask you to go and weigh yourself or bring scale and keep in the site and be weighing everybody before I say go and pack the cement. My brain is there to do the needful. When I look at you, I will know if you can lift cement or not. When I see your status, I will know if possible or not. And there are also some part of Nigerians where you see ladies, women are even in the construction site. You see them carrying cement. Women, I have seen that in the south. Carrying cement. Even in Ghana, it's like I have seen such also in Ghana. More. Women. So these are issues. Manual handling, lifting, pulling, pushing, carrying. There was a wedding. I saw the news. The man, they say, you know, the bride or the groom carry your wife. The man wanted to carry the woman. He doesn't know that the woman you want to carry is bigger. I don't know how possibly they didn't wear themselves. This is also part of the safety. 2 of them on the floor with the wedding gown and everything. Everybody laugh. But these are common sense. You don't follow because they said you follow. Follow. Because you saw people that have some slim, tiny ladies can carry them and use one hand and fling them. No issue. Not for you only. You need to know. It's a laughing issue, right? But it's not a laughing matter when it comes, because you can do that and break your spine. And to walk becomes a problem. For the marriage, you can't walk. You can't walk back home again. So you have issue. They will say, what is the issue? You say your leg, your waist. What is the problem on the wedding day? Did they hit you? No. What happened? I want to carry, the pastor said carry. So anything you see, you carry. You need to know who carry each other. Do you understand? So these are issues you need to understand on factors on load. You can see it on your book. You say the load. You need to assess the load. You need to assess the individual capacity. You need to assess the task, environment, the body positioning. You need to know. If you don't know, you are in trouble. You are not doing try and error, and that can land you into any unforeseen circumstances that you didn't plan for. Hazardous substances, these are critical substances in different mode, in different shapes and different status. It can be the liquid form, solid form, gaseous form, whatever form it can be. Do you understand? Even spiritual form. Exactly. Because you can tell. So all these hazardous issues you see, you need to understand how they enter the body. You need to understand how to manage it. You need to understand the consequences behind it. Do you understand? You need to understand the consequences. It's very important. So at the end of the day, you have so many hazardous substances behind the body through breathing. There was a time I was asked to go and deliver training from Lagos, that is Ogun State in Nigeria. One state in Nigeria where we have various factories. We have, where I don't know those in Nigeria, you remember Ota in Lagos. Okay, not in Lagos. Ota is close to Lagos, but in Ogun State, you understand. Ewekro, where we have a cement factory. I was asked to go and deliver training in that place. The road was too bad because it's a cement factory environment, a local village. The whole air, in fact, I was wearing suits. And very funny enough and unlucky, my suit is cream color on that day. Cream color. I regretted wearing that kind of color, which is black or brown or something. It could have helped the matter. Because the road is not good and we didn't drive to the gate of the factory as the case may be, I have to use bike. We use bike, the cream color suit now turned to brown. Just feel, because the whole community are really suffering from that factory. That doesn't go off my head. So you see how people, community, villagers are inhaling this every day of their life. That was so, I don't know the level of wickedness, or I don't know how to narrate it, because they have safety department. These companies need to really understand the environmental impacts of the citizens. Possibly because it's a local village, but is it enough to kill them? No. If that I can have that impact, just one day impact, a visitor to the community, I had that kind of impact, all my white hanky onto brown. It's so amazing to see such. So these are issues. You inherit so many of these things, and the level you inherit determines the complications in your system, in your body. The skin and the eyes contacts, ingestion through eating. Some people will be eating in such an environment, such a polluted air environment, without knowing that they are eating poison. Yes, without knowing that they are eating poison. Now, coming to UNICEF, we are looking at noise. We are looking at what? Noise. And noise is a unwanted word sound, right? Yeah. There are different kind of noise and sound. They are different. Sounds is caused by vibrations of the air particles. Yes, maybe waves and things like that. And when the sound wave enters the ear, they strike the eardrums, yeah. The noise is unwanted sound, yes. Okay, every one of us, especially in Nigeria in most cases, we all have generators in our houses. Why? Because there is no power. Because there is no power, no electricity. So you need to generate your own electricity with your own little machine, right? And this electricity, these generators, as the case may be, giving us electricity, constitute a lot of noise. How are you managing it? Then, in 5-10 years, you have been using a very loud, noisy generator. It have also affected your eardrums. It have flattened your ear measures, because the accepted level of noise is within 65, 70, 80. Do you understand? So even when the generator is not on, because you have been used to, and in most cases, for some of us, they feel, okay, we have the money to get the field. The gen have to be, I have been in that position before. Yes, I can tell you that. We have to on the gen from 10 p.m. It will run till 6 p.m. 6 a.m. I mean, from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The gen have to be on. So, and when you run this over years, over time, then someone will be calling you, even when they are calling you on phone. If you change a lot of people, when you are speaking to them on phone, they say, I'm not hearing you. What are you saying? I'm not hearing you. What are you saying? You'll be like, are you fighting? Or you are talking to somebody? Why? The workplace have affected the ear drums, so you need to give some high level of noise of as you're talking to the level of that generator for the person to hear. If you don't shout with the way the generator is shouting, the person will not hear. Why? The ear have been accustomed to that level of noise you keep hearing over the time and every day. The ear have come to that level. So you talk anything less than that, the person will not hear. And many of us, sometimes we feel that, we don't know. Especially, I was discussing this with somebody working in aviation industry, that is in airport. If you are working in aviation industry and you are working in the tarmac, you'll be able to understand what I'm saying. They need to wear some ear muff. And even when they wear, so many people in Nigeria I know, they don't wear. They say it's not necessary. So check them in the next 5-10 years. You find out that it will be difficult for them to hear in a very normal low voice. Fine. So what I'm trying to say, you try to not talk louder for the person to hear. Why? The ear have been affected. Hearing loss, that is where the hearing loss comes in. Why? Because of the exposure time. So much of exposure time, every day, every week, every month, every year. Every day, every week, every month, every year. Do you see? Then you calculate. Then you'll be able to understand. So what happens? You need to isolate yourself through elimination. Sometimes you need to recommend to the management, please, can you use some proof generators if you must have to? Or can you put solar if you must have to? It may cost a little bit, but it will save more lives, more better. Isolation is to eliminate. That is the control. Or you use engineering. That is the some proof we are talking about. Do you understand? Or you use the job rotation. That is administration. If instead of you staying for 8 hours in that noise, you stay 4 hours and leave, and that person come. Or the list, which doesn't carry a very reasonable measure, is what? Wearing the PPE. You wear the PPE, you are there for 8 hours, then your name is sorry in the long run. Your name is sorry in the long run. Because that is just a partial measure. It's not a complete measure. Unit 7 talks about machines and machine safety, right? Talking about machine hazards. Physical, chemical, biological, psychological, and electrical. So what happens here? For every machinery, you need to ensure there is safety measures in place. You need to ensure you use it appropriately. Even in our homes, some of these machines, we don't use it well. Many of us, even to use our irons to iron clothes, we don't use it well because it's a machine. The iron is a machine. Sometimes we leave it there, we don't switch it off. Sometimes we use extensions that is lower capacity than the iron to take extension, therefore constituting more problems, giving more tension to the cable, and if care is not taken, it can explode. It can explode. That's why sometimes you'll be hearing your socket making some noise. I don't know if you have noticed that. You'll be hearing some tiny, tiny noise from the socket. Sometimes you will hear it to be as if it's a spirit. It's not a spirit. It's a socket. It's a socket. Why? Overload. Why? The capacity, the socket is crying, but for you, you just go and shake it. For those in Africa, they will just go and shake it and hit it and say, this one is, the brain is touching. There is nothing brain touching. You need to change it. You need to evaluate it. If not, you just go out one day, you hear that the house is on fire. Yes. Yes. You will not hear the house is on fire. You will say, how did it come? Who burned the house? You burned the house now. You forgot. You burned the house. When the extension was making us, giving his hand, he said, no, he's not, just touch it, whatever. And that's ignorant. Then somebody will be outside shouting Holy Ghost fire or shouting the blood of Jesus. All those things will not save you because the knowledge was given, but you abused it. So the house will God burn first. Of course. Because God will not come down from heaven to do that for you. He said, my people perish. My people are those ready for heaven, not ready for hellfire, for Christians. And the same is applicable to Muslims. Safety is not a respecter of your religion. Is not a respecter of your title. Is not also a respecter of what? Your color. You are white. That's why safety is a global and a universal career. What I'm teaching you now is what I can teach in the UK here tomorrow morning. There is no difference. It's the same process, the same principles, and the same procedures. It's not going to be less weak because it's in the UK. No. It's not also going to be more severe because you are in Africa. No. The fact must take place. defects must take place. So you need to understand the safety measures, isolation and tagging. I went to, as an engineer, one of the jobs sometime I went to the UK. They took me, you engineer? Yeah. Maintenance engineering you can do? Yeah. They said, okay, follow me. That is not for a safety job. It's for engineering job now. I got to, we entered the factory, they showed me the line, the manufacturing line and all that. Okay? What do you do before you commence work on this machine? For many of us, that is not a safety job, mind you. That is an engineering job. I said, the white man was asking, what do you do? See the machine? Okay. I said the first thing before commencement of any maintenance or check, isolation of this machine. He said, okay. He said, where do I isolate it? Where do I isolate it? Then I check. I saw the switch by the side where it's supposed to. I said, this here. He said, okay, fine. Isolation. In the process of using the machine developed faults. What happens? You need to tag out. How do you tag out? You just have to look for the appropriate caution of that problem and tag on the machine. Why? So that your colleague or somebody else will not come and feel that the machine or assume. That's why I told you there is no assumption in safety. Do you see the way it's working? So, because if I don't do that, somebody will just start the next shift, or somebody who just passing will say, why is this machine off? He doesn't know that it's have developed fault. He will just on it, the whole blade and the pulley will just cut off his neck. Yes. So you need to put a caution. Machine 40. Caution. Machine out of order. Do you understand? That is a tagging out. Even in our rooms we can do the same. In our houses, we can do the same. You tag out. This socket not in use. So somebody don't have to on it or use it. Use sellotape. Write some stuff, put there. Don't use. What have you done? You have tagged out that very particular electrical device. So anybody who comes, you want to charge your phone, once you raise it, socket not in use, 40, then you have saved that person from spark or anything that can result at the cause of his action. I don't know if I'm making sense. If I'm making sense, can you put on the chat box 777, please? The next is a caution. As you can see in your books, you see so many of these stops there. And that is what we have to use. The unit 8 talks about PPE, personal protective equipment. Personal protective equipment. We have discussed this already. You can wear PPE and die for free. You can wear PPE and get injured. Why? When you don't wear it well, when you don't check the appropriate one that fits the hazards, even in the electrical setting, even in the medical environment, there are different kind of PPEs. Hand gloves are in thousands, safety shoes are in hundreds, helmets are in hundreds, coverall different types. The coverall you see an engineer is wearing is different from a coverall a firefighter is wearing. It looks the same, but it's different. What makes it different? The one the fireman is wearing have been treated to become a fire-resistant clothing, a fire-resistant cotton. So even if he's inside fire, both the shoe and everything, for the next 15 minutes, he won't be feeling the fire. Fire is touching the cloth, but the cloth is not burning. Why? It has been treated for that purpose. So you don't have to see because that man, he wore that cloth, he was there, and nothing happened. Okay, wear your own cloth and enter. Yeah. So you now feel because he wore the cloth and enter and fought the fire last time, you now saw fire, you now jump inside. And somebody said, you said, no, that is how they do that. Somebody wore you saw him, he was wearing the clothes, nothing happened. Because you are now, in the Bible, there was a case like that, right? They were inside fire, fire was not burning them. So that is the situation of PPE. Safety shoes, the same thing. The construction safety wears is different from the oil and gas safety wear. What makes the difference? The industry. The construction safety wears, in between, you won't see it, it's invisible, it's inside. Have a panel. So if you jump on top of nail or whatever, it won't penetrate to your foot. Why? The panel will resist the penetration. Why the oil company, what they want using the oil company is because there is no jumping, there is no nails. The most hazard they have there is slippery, right? So their own safety shoe have a rough surface to resist slippery in that workplace. Do you understand? So that is how all these things works. If you read your manual, you get a better understanding, then we can likely look at it again during revision. If I'm here tomorrow, I can't predict my time anyway. So working in confined space, as the case may be, is another very serious subject matter you need to understand. And what is a confined space? Confined space is an enclosed or partially closed space. Yeah, where air cannot enter, nothing enters. Do you understand? Even our GP tank you see in our houses, on top of our house is a confined space. Why? It have only one small opening at the top, right? That is a confined space. Because is along the line I now notice that those days when we are in Nigeria, youth and guys, the GP is very dirty. They say, okay, go and watch the GP. We and other guys, we just have to jump inside. When we jump inside the GP at the top there, with the sun hitting us, it will be difficult to an extent sometimes to breathe. We have to bring out our head up and take some small air, then go back again to scrub the inside and all that, and do again, bring out our head again. Why? There is not enough oxygen inside there. So in any confined space, in any organized institution, most times they have to introduce oxygen, respiratory equipment to be used for that purpose. Because it has been discovered that they are going to spend 2 hours there, 3 hours there, 4 hours there. So you need to now try as much as possible to do what? To provide alternative air provision at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, you also need to understand that those days, I just remember, we'll be so sweating like Christmas goats inside that GP tank. So I'll be wondering. So it's later I understood some of these things. Do you understand? So working in confined space is something that requires so many safety measures, and it requires what we call permit to work. Can you write on the chat board, permit to work? You can't enter this confined space without permit to work. So what is permit to work? Permit to work is a document assigned for you to go and execute a task in such an environment by making sure that you have the appropriate equipment, training, exposure, knowledge, and control of any unforeseen circumstances in such an environment. Do you understand? So that is the permit to work, and that is what it consists. Employer's responsibility before entering, you can see. Worker responsibility before entering, you can see. So this is how it works when it comes to confined space. Not only in confined space, most times you need permit to work, even in welding. In most cases, any critical life-threatening task require permit to work. You can position it in any critical task and make it an order in the workplace that before anybody does this assignment, you must come and take this document, and we may be sure that we know what you are doing. If not, you go there and die. One carelessness or assumptions can just kill the person. Do you understand? So 11 talks about in case of emergencies. And the emergencies we are talking about is talking about fire, leakages, fire bomb. For those in Nigeria now, I need to also include kidnapping. They are all part of it, right? Good. Because you have come to meet it as an emergency. Kidnapping, robbery, health issue attack, collapse. These emergencies. So you need to know the kind of emergencies that can erupt within your workplace and what kind of people are there. Do you get? You need to. Very important. First aid. If somebody should wound, what should happen? You need to provide first aid. If robbers should come, or maybe kidnappers should come, you just head over the office or maybe at home. Okay, everybody come out, raise your hand, do this, everybody. And you find out that these are kidnappers. What do? You alert the police. But in this case now, there is more higher danger. Because even the police, once they hear that one, from what stories I'm seeing in Nigeria, they will run away. And not only in Nigeria, even some other African countries, the same case is there. Police will hear, police will run away. So that makes the matter, that emergency more critical. More what? Critical. So you need to design the system. Make sure if it's fire, there is exit. Don't live in any house where you don't have 2 doors exit. Okay, I'm just speaking grammar now as if everybody, even those in the hostel or maybe there, what are you going to pack out now? The answer is no. Because these are realities on the table. But going forward, as you begin to understand how life is and consequences of these actions, you need to check your exit point, entry point. 1 door entry is a big risk. In fact, you can't see such facility in the UK or in any developed country. It's not possible. It is not possible. It does not exist. Even if it's a salon, barber salon, 2 doors exit is available. It's not possible. But you see some people living in a whole big flat. I have seen that. I've also been in that condition before. There was a house, I lived in Lagos sometime in Lekki houses. The kitchen by right is supposed to have exit. But this one kitchen, no exit. No veranda. So you're on your own. And the burglary proofs are done in the way we are also trying to gain safety from robbers. So if something happens, it's only prayer. But that is why sometimes these things is just, I don't know how to put it, but it's a mindset. Because the landlords or the developers don't have this knowledge we are talking about. So it's a system error. Do you understand? It's a system error. You have seen the news now where fire burned down everybody. Why? No exit. In the UK, there is no window with burglary. It's not possible. If there is any, there is a lock to it. There is a lock. And the lock is there. So I think gradually the narrative will change, but it may not change too fast. But you need to face your reality. Now you know you only have one door in your room, right? And you don't have exit, and it's not your house. So what you need to do, increase your safety intelligence. Make sure you switch off all your appliances. Make sure you don't leave the iron. Make sure you have a good socket you are using to avoid all the fire sources. Make sure you block and assess and monitor them. With that, no issue. With that, no issue. But if you don't recognize safety and you are living anyhow and there is no escape route, then you are going to pay with your life. You will pay. That is a situation with emergency. I remember those days when robbery became so much at a time in my house. I told my colleagues, I said, look, once we hear any gunshot in the midnight, this is a point we are going to stay. They say, why? How did you come to that intelligence? I said, well, I have done my risk assessment in the whole of this house. Even from the window, they rob from the window, right? They will break the window and put gun there. I said, look, bring the gun, bring that phone, bring their phone, bring this, bring that, bring front. They don't need to enter your house. Just from the window, they have finished the robbing and you give them everything, and you are still shivering. And once they go, you now faint. Before you wake up, maybe 3 hours time. Before you wake up from that window attack, not entry, no, just window attack. So I told them, once anything happens, come to this point. What happens to that point? No gun can come to that point. Once they come, run to that point. Because I have done my assessments of that house. There is no gunshot. Once I'm standing there, there is no way, window or door, whatever we see you. So unless they break into the house, fine. Do you understand? So that became my assessments at that point. So the prayer now at that point becomes, God, they should not come, right? Fine. So that comes to the end of this lecture. I guess it makes sense. But safety is common sense. The little narration is to give you a high understanding. So we have come to the end of this lecture at this point, and if you feel you have been well imparted and you understood the workplace, not only just workplace, even home, not only just home, even on the move, you have really understood this to an extent, because you don't have to take overdose so that you don't get also headache on top of it. We are also very careful of the level of dose of knowledge you get. Safety is very vast, so you can't even finish it even in 10 days time. So at this point, I want to appreciate you all for your listening and interactions so far and following. And if you feel you have really imparted on this and you are following accordingly, thank you so much. Yes, thank you. I can see all your hands and all your love and order. I believe that in no time, you guys becomes the giants and the empire in your various countries and various localities, imparting and transforming lives. Even my mother, I remember some years back, I was just counseling her. I said, look, Mom, you need to manage your life. You need to manage your life. What you can do, do. What you cannot do, don't do. Farm. If you can't farm, leave it. If you can farm, you farm. If you can't farm, leave it. Because if you want to struggle because you still want to farm the way you farm, you will die in the farm. And if you die in the farm will still remain there and the land will still remain there. So where is the wisdom? No wisdom. It's as simple as that. So these are realities. If you don't face the realities, then you're on your own. So gradually she began to. So I told her sometime, I said, do people who have strength for that? I said, that's good. That means my safety teaching really entered the old woman. It's really entered her. Because what everybody needs is information. Information. And the reality of that information is what matters. The reality of that information is what matters. The validity of that information is what transforms and is what imparts. Do you understand? So at this point, thank you so much. And I appreciate you all. I can see questions. Yes, I'm here. I think we have some few time for that. But before that question right away, I had Yes, the report of yesterday in terms of your testimonies and your, please, Engineer Promise, can you post that link once more for those who joined very late? Joining late and joining late to class is part of hazard, for your information, because you are just doing yourself. Yeah, you are just doing yourself. When you come to class late, especially when you heard that it's an international training, you came to African meeting and thought it's African meeting. You're on your own. You have missed. You're only lucky that you have recorded versions, which the teams are very good in sharing. But the point is that you have missed some things. 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 It's as simple as that. So share the link again. If you know you have not done your impact report, it's very key, it's very important for our British executives to also glance through to see what is going on within the impact of this very scheme, because a lot of agitation from our country leaders across countries, even the Asia countries are now, they made us, because it was actually done for Africans, because that is where the high level of casualties are happening, but Asian leaders are also coming now, so we are trying to expand it, and we are still checking whether to give room in some months coming before the end of the year. We don't know yet, but we are looking at this as a last scheme for the year, but let's see how it goes. But drop your impacts and the world to know that really we are really transforming the future workforce globally, especially within Africa continent. Thank you. So over to you, Yombing Abisha. Over to you, your name, your country, and your institution. You have 30 seconds, please.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. My name is Yawombing Abishel. I'm from Cameroon, Northwest region. All right. I just wish to say thank you for the knowledge and the insight, that of yesterday and today, because from what you just mentioned, I started educating my mom also today about her health and the things she should eat, drink, and she should also exercise. So I just wish to say thank you so much, sir. I've already started the work. Thank you.
And we appreciate Abishal for that wonderful impact and activity. Thank you so much for being. That is the only way. There is no other way, because safety is the business of the people, not the business of buying and selling. So you need to understand. I'm just saying this for many of you who may want to migrate or maybe switch. I love engineering. I was not pushed. I was not like some people that their parents or whoever pushed. At the age of 15 already, I'm aiming to be an engineer already. So I was really destined for that. But along the line, I find a higher calling and a higher interest, a higher love for this profession. So for many of you who may be coming into this line, you must be a talkative. You must train yourself to this level of dealing with people, educating people, your colleagues, your classmates, your roommates. Do you understand? Because if you don't do that, you are dealing with hazardous people around you. They can also cause issues that can claim your life. God forbid. Yeah, somebody say God forbid, of course. But the reality is what I'm just saying. The reality, that is why the Western world is what it is. They don't need to try to make it to be for you to feel okay. No, they have to tell you the way it is. So it's not late for you to make your choice. You can't work in any high-risk environment, even if you are coming as an office staff or as a cleaner. You can't. Because your carelessness can cause serious fatality that will collapse the platform. The cleaner, just the cleaner. Not the engineer, just the cleaner. So they know what they are doing. That's why health and safety is the most required certification on a different document to prove that you have passed through that knowledge for where it's necessary. So thank you for that education for your family's sake. And it will help us to reduce a lot of unwanted testimonies, even in churches. I was the one in church years back in Nigeria. You see this woman giving testimony. My daughter drank, is it fuel or something, or this logic, he put in a small container. 5 years old drank it. 5 years, thinking it's water because the color of water. He drank it. It's only God that saved the daughter. But what if this girl have gone? So the carelessness, even some big men, you see people like, what's their name? For those that are musicians here, one of the biggest musicians in Nigeria was Davido. Their son died due to what? Negligence and carelessness. Carelessness. Why? Because they didn't know so safety is not a respecter of whether you are a rich man or a poor man. You're on your own. You are on your own. Over to you, Timothy Dorata.
Okay, so thank you very much, and good evening once again. Said I think I'm very, very happy for this training, and mine is not a question though, and it's a request. And then yesterday, even after the training, what I don't do, I think I've realized that it's a big problem and it's a hazard. So because of yesterday's training, I have to start that, and I've started this morning when I came to the office. I realized that too. It is very good, and then it's helpful. And then I thank you once again for that. And sir, I'll be very happy if you can share these particular slides with us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Timothy, for that wonderful input and recap. Yeah, the slide, of course, can be made possible. I will discuss with the team across countries so they can make it available. But meanwhile, the slides are also reproduced as points. That's why it's called PowerPoint, from the slides or from the manual you have. But nevertheless, we can make available for your further learning and also teaching others as the case may be. Okay. Thank you so much for implementing this. Part of it is what I've asked everyone to do. Ensure that you have dropped your comment, your 5-star. This is a 5-star trade. I don't give anything less than 5-star education. Okay. And I guess everyone have gotten that knowledge of 5-star training and the raw material. So if you are to meet anybody, anywhere, anytime, you can raise your head and face the matter of safety within the limit or the level of where you are now, because it's a continuous process. So at this point, I want to appreciate what we have come to the end of this session. But before then, I think I need to watch out and see if there's any of our leaders already seated in this forum. Tomorrow, we are going to be having a revision class. I don't know if I'm going to be there, but I'll try if I'm going to be in that meeting tomorrow. So, but there will be revision tomorrow, and also to tell us more about how the examination is going to go. What is more important is the training, not the examination. I know many of you will be so, you have to study. No, not because, forget the examination. First on the knowledge, understand the chemistry, the system. Many of you actually don't really understand how these things work, but I guess with the 2 days thorough education, you have now having a good mental shift, and is really positioning gradually. So by the time we are done and you become student members across board, I think you are going to be well equipped to emerge in various industries as conscious leaders, workers, safety officers, as the case may be. At this point, thank you so much for all your time. I think we are good to go. At this point, I want to call on two ladies and 2 men students for closing remark on behalf of the students. Once we have done that, we have to shut down immediately by any of our. Tomorrow we can do revision for any matter. Revision tomorrow, no issue. So I want to call on. Okay, Gabriel, over to you, please.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Gabriel. I'm joining from Nigeria, Bayelsa State precisely. Okay, I sincerely want to thank everybody for this opportunity to learn. Though I've really learned a lot about the PPEs, the safety hazard, and the safety rules that has been given for each of the industries. So we have to make sure that any industry that we are in, we should try to look out for the safety hazards and what they are meant for. So I want to say a very big thank you to everybody. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. So I want to also call Catherine Inzoputachi. Catherine. Janet Abiyoje. Abijoy, right? Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, from my hand, it's evening already. Hope you can hear me.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm Abejoy Janet from Nigerian Federal University of Petroleum Resources, FRM. Okay, so I want to thank, the tutors, because I will call you tutors, for enlightening us more on safety. Really appreciate you. And from what we've learned, I got to know that safety is not just a rule, it's not just a rule, it's like a culture, it's something we should get accustomed to. And because if we are careless about something, like an act, we are careless about it, it can cause a lifetime regret. In the aspect of I think you made mention of staying in a place whereby maybe those people working in aviation companies, whereby they get exposed to those sounds, and it's an accumulation of, it causes a lifetime regret. That's just it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Network is all part of it. We have all heard you in spirit. So I believe we have really done well today. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's kindly unmute ourselves and shout out. You are loose from the room now. You have loose, yes. Just unmute yourself, and shout out. Shout out to everyone, your colleagues, and unmute yourself, unmute your videos if you want to unmute your videos.
Thank you, sir.
Unmute, and you are free now. Thank you.
I got it now. Sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.